Hi guys, my name is Alex and I wanted to put together a tutorial for you guys on how to search Google Sheets or Airtable or MySQL and return a group of gallery cards. I know the biggest challenge is when you do a search, you only get one record back, and that has to do with the way databases work. They usually search and give you the last record. So what you need to do is you actually have to go through an iteration process or an enumeration process where you tell it, here, I want you to turn this gallery for this record and then the next gallery for the next record. So let's get started. To go ahead and test this, I have a test plot that I use. You're only going to need really two blocks. The first block is actually one that's just going to collect the attributes here. Okay. So this is basically just going to ask them, okay, what do I want to search by? You assign that whatever value or user input into this variable. Okay, then you just kind of let them know, hey, I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and do the search. And then you're going to send that to the search block. The search block itself is going to be just a JSON API call, right? So we're going to go ahead and use a post call. And then we need to go ahead and get the endpoint here for the URL. And we're going to pass this variable that we created in the collect attributes block. So let's go ahead and go to Integromat. So in Integromat, we're going to use a webhook here. Okay. And I already created this, but if you don't have one, you can hit add here and create a new, give it a new name, and it'll return this here. So we're going to go ahead and copy this URL to the clipboard here. Let's go back to Chatfuel and let's go ahead and paste that here. Wait for the little check mark to take here. It's done. Okay, so that should go ahead and be plugged in. To go ahead and initialize it, I want to go ahead and I already set this up, so I'm going to redetermine data structure. In order to call this, some people like to use this URL link here. What I like to do is I like to set up an AI to call both of those blocks as I'm testing it. So for the first block, I'm going to say, let's say collect information, and that's going to go ahead and call the block to collect the attribute here. Okay, then I'm going to add another rule that says go ahead and search it. So if I just want to test, once I've collected, if I just want to go ahead and test the search function to make sure that Integromat is working and the bot's responding, I don't have to go through the entire process again. So let's go ahead and do this here. Let's search by attribute. Okay, so now those are set. So the first thing then that what I'll do is I'll go ahead and test the chatbot. Right, hit test chatbot here, view in messenger. And when I go here, it's like, let's go ahead and I'll do the post first so that it'll go back to Integromat as it's listening and it's waiting to see what information it's supposed to get. So I post and it should come back and say, there it is, successfully determined. That means it knows what information it's supposed to get. Perfect. If you click on this one button, it'll say, okay, here's what's coming. I'm supposed to get this field test city, and right now it has the field Menifee in it. I've been testing this already, guys. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add a Google Sheet, and you want to select rows. Okay. On the select rows here, you're going to set up your Google Sheet. What sheet do you want to search? Let's look at the file. For me, I'm going to use loan officers. The worksheet that I'm going to use is this worksheet here, and I want to order it by city, just to make it easier for the bot to search for me. Okay. And so you see this within the parentheses here, this is the field name. So what I'm going to do is I want to search by that city. So I'm going to say city, just as it's typed up there, equals, and then I'm going to use the attribute that was passed. Okay, that's going to filter, and it's only going to return records for the city. If you have a lot of people that are in, let's say, or a lot of items that are going to be returned, you really want to limit the number of items that come back because you don't want to create an indefinite number of gallery cards, right? I think Chatfuel has a limit of 10 gallery cards, but for the user experience, you really only want to return about 3 to 4 cards. So you want to try to make your search as narrow as possible so that you give them exactly what they need. Otherwise, they're going to be scrolling through a bunch of features and it's not going to be a good experience for the user. So for this one, I'll go ahead and hit, let's say, maximum 4 rows. Okay, click OK. Great. That module's set up. The next thing I need to do is I need to add a tool. And the tool is going to be an array aggregator. And what this does is it says it's going to take all the rows that it found from Google Sheets and then hold them in a container, let's say. Okay. And it's going to ask me, well, what container do you want? Where's the source? The source I want is Google Sheets. Okay. And then I will say, well, what information do you want? I want to get, let's say, the user ID. I want to get maybe a picture so you can display it, right? First name, last name. Let's say I want city, state, maybe a phone number. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, that should be good. So now it's gonna, whenever it goes to the iteration, it's gonna return that. Okay, before I go into the next thing is, you wanna make sure that you create a response for 0 results, right? Sometimes people might search for a product or a person or an item that doesn't exist, so you wanna make sure you account for that. So what I like to do here is, right after that array aggregator, I like to use a router. And the router is going to basically give me different responses, right? Different webhook responses. My first webhook response that I want to give, let's connect that, is, that there aren't any records here. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go messages, excuse me, messages here. I always add my braces first so I don't forget later on where they go. Text, post, text. This is just going to give me a text response, and it's going to say, sorry, no records found. Let's say searching in, and I pass the attribute here. Okay. And the braces here, it's already ended here. Perfect. Now that one's done. Now this is going to return this response when there are no records, so I need to give it a filter here. So I click here. I'm going to say I'm going to give it a label, no records found, so I know which route this is. Okay. And I'm going to sit there and say, okay, where let's say where Facebook ID does not exist. That means it didn't return any record whatsoever. Great. So we have that first webhook response. So let's go ahead and add another webhook response. And then this one is going to be the gallery card. Okay, next, what do we want to do is go ahead and set up the gallery response for the webhook. So let's go ahead and get the code. Let's go to the JSON, Chatfuel JSON API documentation. Go down to the gallery card. Where is it here? Okay. I'm sorry. Here it is right here. It's in galleries. We'll grab the entire code here. One thing to note, let's go ahead and copy that. When you go to paste this into Integromat, you want to make sure that you post as plain or you paste it as plain text. If you paste it here, you're going to get the invisible character terms that are going to return an error. Okay, so let's go ahead and click OK on that. Okay, so this is already set up. So let's go ahead and tailor the cards, okay, or customize the cards. So let's say in the title, I don't want it to have this title. I want to give it the first name and last name of the user I'm trying to return. So I can go ahead and click to the array here. I'll go ahead and grab the first name, space, last name. Okay. I want to get the image URL that I want to return, so I'll go ahead and grab the image there. Subtitle, I just want to say lender or loan officer, just give it a title maybe. Okay. So this time for this first phone, I want to go ahead and use a phone. Right. So let me go ahead and double check the API here to make sure for a call button, the special buttons are down here. If you want to do a phone number, so it's phone number and phone number. Got it. So let's go ahead and fix that. So phone underscore number, and the URL is going to be +1, and then I'm going to insert the phone number here. Okay, that way when they click that button, it can go ahead and call. So I'm going to tell them, hey, the title is going to be Call now. Okay, so now that's for one record. For a second record, you do the same, you go through the same process, right? We go, okay, let's go ahead and change the title here, first name, last name. But if you note, it's got the same array or iterator number or enumeration here, 1. It's the first array. We want to change that to the second array so it can return the second record that it finds, right? So let's go ahead and click that one here as well. Let's change that to 2. Same thing here. Let's go ahead and change that to 2. This is the URL. Array number 2. And so on. So now you kind of get the idea. I'm going to leave the other buttons the same. This is just for test purposes. We'll go ahead and save that. And next, let's go ahead and back to Messenger and test it and see if that works. Again, guys, for me, I like to clear out all my previous errors prior to running a new test. That just helps me to, for my own, that's just the way I work. I like to make sure that I can test, make sure I've gotten past that certain problem, fix it, test again. If I see a bunch of errors there, for me, it's just kind of drives me nuts. So that's why I constantly clear them out. So let's go ahead and collect the information this time. Let's test it out, okay? Let's try to collect information now for 2. We had for 2 responses or 2 gallery cards. Let's collect that. We look at our sheet, and in the sheet we see that, you know, the city that has 2, we adjusted Paul earlier is Marietta. So we'll go back here, and then we'll go ahead and, waiting for this bot to respond here. There we go. Sorry. All right, it says what city shall we search in? So let's say Marietta. We'll go ahead and send that in. So now when it runs this, it should go through the second channel and return 2 gallery cards. Okay. And there they are. There's Paul and there's Heather. Okay, for some reason it's not returning this picture here, so I'll have to look at either it's my URL here, and here I can see where it returned the results, or it has something to do with my array here. So it's probably his URL. If I check this here, this is probably, I got to fix this file here to make sure I'm pulling it from the right URL for that to show. But in essence, guys, there you have it. You have how to return gallery cards, how to set up Integromat to return arrays, and how to set up your gallery cards. You just duplicate this process. You can clone this again, and then add the 3rd and the 4th, and you know that's the way I like to do it. But this will help you search by whatever parameter you want to use. Use Google Sheets, add your array aggregator, and then just separate it into the number of responses that however you want to respond. Okay, I hope this helps, guys, and if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me in a message, and I'll try to get better at these for you guys so that you guys can continue building. All right, guys, thank you.